Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farm. I'm out here with my friend Brian, and we're going to do a little tractor comparison today. Obviously, you guys know I have a 2038R, and he has a 2025R, which is a discussion I see a lot online of between these two models, there's a pretty big price difference, and are you getting enough performance difference to make up for that price difference? So, want to tell us a little bit about your tractor, like what year it is and how many hours it has?
It is a 2019 that I bought up at Heritage Tractor, and
Go Heritage!
about 2 years ago. And I've only put about 157 hours on it.
Yep, he's got 10 acres here. Really nice property. We just walked around. He's got a pond back in the back. There's some big trees over here that need cut up. So I brought the 500i. We're gonna play around with that a little bit, do some cutting, and then move some logs, move some rocks, just do a little comparison and then give our thoughts. So information about your tractor, modifications. I know you have third function. He's got the Artillean grapple here, the old style Artillean grapple. So we're gonna compare that also. You said you don't have fluid in your tires?
Don't have fluid in the tires. I do have the Boris spacers on the back, which is 2 inches.
So that'll make a difference already, that when doing a straight across comparison, we both have a box blade on the back, but I have wheel weights and fluid in the tires, so that's going to help me lift just a little bit more. I also have the mechanical self-leveling loader, gives you a little more lift capacity, but you'll notice an annoyance when you use it, a lot of people do, that normally your curl back might be 17 degrees and now it's only 11, and you can't get stuff to roll back in your grapple and stuff. So it's a little bit of a negative to it. But have you probably never ran a 2038?
Nope.
I've never ran a 2025, so it should be a good time.
Yeah.
All right, so I think first thing, we'll get the chainsaw out and do a little cutting on that tree and then try to start moving that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So these are the trees we're going to cut up, and it'll give us a good ability to compare lift capacity and stability of carrying a large load, because we can chunk these into different sizes and different lengths, and I really think it'll make a good comparison. But since we're here to compare tractors, I think I'll do a little walk around. We're going to raise the loaders all the way up and see what the lift height difference looks like, and compare that real quick, then we'll fire up the chainsaw. So I've left the tractors running just because we all know that hydraulics can sag when you shut them off. I've got 80 inches. $69 inches. I would have said it wasn't that much. I didn't remember, but I thought it was less of a difference, but 11 inches is quite a bit. It also caught me off guard not running a non-self-leveling loader in a while when it started coming up. I'm like, my grapple's curling towards me. That's normal. One thing that annoys me about my tractor, I feel like it's way too big of a tractor, which is a small tractor, but I feel like way too big a tractor to have this size tires. A 38 horsepower, 22-inch front tire, 21 and a half, 22. The front tires are about the same on these tractors. Feels like this needs to have a bigger tire on it to me. 32 and 34. So there's 2 inches of extra tire height on the back. I'm not going to go through and measure everything because I can look at a spec sheet and throw that information into the video. But okay, so the tree service that cut this tree down, they cut 2/3 of the way through, down to about here, and then quit. So it's too big. I mean, this thing weighs way too much for either of our tractors to roll. But if I cut it right about here, then I think we can roll it over and chunk it up and get some of this out of here. So I'm gonna drop it right here. We should have the compression wood on top, so I'm gonna cut through the top first and then see if I can split it from the bottom. Hey, am I making it up or exaggerating when I say that's a loud?
No, no, you are not.
It's like jet engine category volume. So I actually did think that was right, probably at that border. I wasn't planning to move this with the tractors. I was just gonna roll it over and cut it some more because it needs cut up. But I thought that's right about the size of log I think that'll be at the limit. And I don't think we hit the limit of your lift capacity. I think we hit the limit of your ballast. Because it lifted it just enough you could slide a sheet of paper under it, and then I could feel the back coming up a little bit. I think if he hung 300 pounds of suitcase weights on that box blade and filled the tires, we'd be able to lift it, but you'd be an inch off the ground, and you'd be at that point where I feel that way with mine even. If it's long, if this is compact and weighs 1,000 pounds, it feels all right. But if it's really long and that heavy, when you go over bumps, that's how you tweak your loader. But so we've kind of found the difference in lift capacity. Now I can move that log, and he'd probably need to cut one round off of it before he moved it. You want to try the saw? You want to run the chainsaw?
I don't care.
I'm telling you, I think everyone should run a saw like this. I'd only use like little electric saws or really small homeowner chainsaws until we moved onto our new property. And running a saw like that, the power is surprising. We're gonna do a few more tasks with both grapples, and then I want to get your thoughts on it. But your initial thought on the way that opens and closes?
It's really nice. Seems like it goes out a little bit further and is able to bring it in.
Yeah, it's got a dramatically wider opening, and it's almost perfect to me. I think it's a little bit weak when you're gripping out towards the end, but outside of that, That opening is as big as you will find on a compact tractor.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I convinced him to try the 500i. So he's just gonna roll the log to where the uncut part is pointing up.
Oh boy. Oh wow.
That's a lot of power, right?
Oh yeah.
So he has an Echo chainsaw with an 18-inch bar, probably just your standard chainsaw that most guys are gonna have.
40cc.
40cc, yeah, about what I was expecting. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, that was like a jet taking off. That cut through it like.
I run this every day, but if you've never run a bigger saw, it'll surprise you a little bit. All right, I can play with chainsaws all day, but we're here to compare tractors, so let's find some other stuff to do. Okay, we are going to hold the least impressive drag race you've ever seen at 11 miles an hour versus 10. I don't actually know if there's a difference in the rated ground speed, but driving his, it feels slower. So we're gonna see, like you can read the stats, but functionally, driving, say we got a pile of brush and we're moving it from here to there, how much longer is that really taking you? So we're gonna have like a 100-yard tractor race. Now we're going to do the world's least scientific turning radius test. Start in one spot and see how big of a circle we make. I don't know what to make of that, but when I came back around, my tractor fit in a little bit tighter turning radius, and I would think it would be the other way. What I was seeing as I was driving is both were in two-wheel drive, and the tractor was not following the front tires. I can turn these wheels a lot further than I could on mine, and get it looks like a steeper angle, but the tractor was not following the way the tire was turned. So I wondered if there's a different weight differential from front to back right now, or if it would make a difference in four-wheel drive. But I noticed the tire was turned sharp and the tractor was kind of skidding past that turning direction. You guys tell me in the comments what that means. We've got a really long brush pile here that is not where he wants it. He wants all of this relocated over there 100 feet or something. So we're gonna work on that for a little bit. He'll drive my tractor and I'll drive his. We'll get a look at your visibility, the difference in the grapples, and just kind of compare it. Okay, you mentioned the self-leveling loader taking some getting used to.
Yeah.
You think, initial impression, you think you'd like it, or?
I think I'd like it in the long run, but as of right now, you know, getting used to it, and you're having to. I mean, I'm sitting there pulling back and then trying to curl, and it's like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore, and so.
Hey, I was thinking we could put your bucket on it and move some of that gravel and see what you think of it with that.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? That'll give you a better feel for it. The best thing for telling if you like that, because for moving gravel, it's got drawbacks. For moving pallets of stuff, it's phenomenal. Obviously, that's kind of what it's designed for. But if you don't mind the extra time, we'll put your bucket on.
That's fine.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, that's a lot different.
Yeah. How's it feel pushing in? Probably about the same.
Yeah, it was about the same. Just usually with mine, usually when I get the gravel in there, I sort of curl the bucket, sort of take it up to sort of level it out, and you really can't with that once you get to a certain height.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed it from one scoop, but I mean, you can tell it doesn't curl back as far, right?
Yep.
So you can't shake that rock into the back of your bucket.
Yep.
And so you're getting 80% of a bucket full of rock. Now I have a bigger bucket, and I actually, to compensate for that, I got an oversized bucket because the self-leveling loader will lift more than the regular loader. Through mechanical advantage, it gains lift capacity. So I got a bigger bucket, and now I can haul a full scoop at a time. But that curl back is an issue. And there's an individual guy who's made some spacers that go under the bottom to push the bottom out to fix it. Huh. I don't know why Deere didn't do that.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
If you're listening, engineers at John Deere, you should have put that curl back, that rollback on there. All you had to do was some spacers that go behind the quick attach. Okay, so I get a lot of comments on my videos that are like, why don't you get a real tractor? That's just a lawnmower. Well, it's considerably bigger, and I don't get the whole, like, putting someone down for having a smaller tractor. Like, just get what you need, right? And we could bring a tractor over here that's 13 horsepower more than mine and do a comparison, and we'll say, wow, it lifts higher and lifts more weight. And that's just a difference in the size of the tractor, and you pay for that difference. My understanding is you're looking at an extra $8,000 or so for a stock 2038 versus a 2025. So as far as size of tractor, this feels more like a 3 Series, but it's really just what you need. But anything besides just the fact it's a little bigger tractor that stood out to you that you liked or didn't like?
I really like the parking brake. That feature, since it's right here, instead of having to pick up that little lever and then, so.
If you've never operated a 2038 or a 2032, I think they've got the nicest parking brake I've seen on anything. It's like an older car one. It's got a long handle with a thumb button, and you just pull up and it's locked, and you know it's locked, and it's very user friendly. Whereas like the TYM tractors I drove, you're wiggling the pedal and you've got this little lever up here. That's kind of how this one is. So I think all the tractors should have that big handle like that.
Yeah, and then I think sort of the visibility down low is a little bit when I was going in with the grapple and stuff, or going in with the bucket to sort of line the pins. I think mine maybe has a little bit more visibility.
And I don't know if that's,
see down low.
I don't know if that's all big tractors are worse about that than smaller tractors, but the TYM had poor visibility to the bucket. You could hardly see on that 574. You could hardly see your paddles on the, and mine's almost that bad. You can never see your forks, the tips of your forks. You've got the Artilian pallet forks.
Yep.
Can you see the tips of the forks going into a pallet or whatever you're picking up?
I have to sort of get a little bit out of the seat. You know, don't get enough out where it stops the tractor, but yeah, usually I can see just the tips.
Yeah, so I can never see the tips of my forks. So you lose some front visibility, which matters. Anything else that really stood out to you? Key placement's a little better on the 2025. It's up where you can't hit it with your leg.
Yep.
Mine shifts in and out of gear a lot, really smooth every time pretty much. I never have to wiggle the lever or move the tractor and wiggle the lever. A lot of other tractors I've been on, yours included, getting it in and out of gear is a little bit of a fight.
Yep, you have to sit there and you have to touch those pedals just a little bit and find the little sweet spot where it moves in.
Mine's like that going in and out of four-wheel drive, but it is not for going in and out of gear.
My knee, always on my 2025R, I'm always hitting the little emergency lights and all that, and so I didn't have to worry about that at all. Getting off the tractor, then turning around to figure out if my lights are on or not. But
one thing I like about this tractor, his tractor, I really like an open station tractor. I just like feeling, you know, like you're outside, not like you're boxed in. And I wouldn't take my cab off. I'd rather have the cab because I run the tractor in the winter, and tomorrow it's going to be 40-degree high temperature, and I'm going to brush hog, and the dust gets to me. So I wouldn't take my cab off, but I kind of miss having an open station.
yeah.
How'd that feel to you being in that half cab?
It was a little different, but when you're, you know, driving and then out here right now, when the wind catches, it's a little cold. So, but like in yours, I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But in mine, it's just all hitting you in the face.
And
So.
it's kind of nice knowing whether you can look right there and see if your ROPS are going to hit when you're in a cab. You're like worried, is that a little taller than I thought? But
Yep, that's what I was worried about going out under that limb over there. So.
Anything else with like the steering or did the stability or everything else feel pretty similar to you?
I mean, I could, you know, notice that there was quite a bit more weight difference and everything. It was a lot more stable. Even over by the trees and stuff, coming over some of that, it was a lot more stable than mine was.
I'm going to say, honest to goodness, I haven't been in a million tractors, but I've test drove quite a few from running this channel. I think as far as the placement of the controls and how smoothly everything functions, the 2038 is as ergonomic a machine as I've found anywhere. The pedal height is perfect. Your controls are perfect. The joystick lever, if you put your arm on the armrest, your natural position in your hand hits the joystick. And it makes sense because it's the most recent redesign John Deere has done on any of their machines is the 2038. So things always evolve and make little improvements like that. I think there's a lot of things that they could improve and offer, but these are things that aren't on either tractor. I think they're competitors with a tractor this size with a factory cab with heat and AC. John Deere doesn't have that. There are tractors that you can get factory third function, and they've just come out with that on the 2038. I'm not sure if the 2025 has it. So there are a few things I'd like to see like that, but overall, I've reviewed this tractor quite a bit. I'm really happy with it. And then what about your thoughts on the two grapples? We have the two Artilian grapples here. I've shown them both quite a few times. The standard fixed clamp and the Iron Fist, which has a articulating closing motion. Do you notice a preference between those two?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved mine ever since I got them. But yeah, just that little bit of extra reach, it just allows you to get
more brush.
More stuff, yep.
Yep. So I think those are both great products. Whether it's same thing with the tractor. I like the other grapple, the Iron Fist, a little bit more, but it's also an extra $600 or $800. You know, and how much do you really use your tractor, and do you want to spend your whole budget on it? So both capable machines, and I had a good time out here playing around today.
So, yeah, it was fun.
All right, well, I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.